Good evening, I'm Soraya Mia. This is AWANI Tonight. The Health Ministry announced a series of additional COVID-19 measures in light of the potential surge of travelers from China after the country decided to reopen its borders. Health Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa says this includes fever screenings for all incoming travelers.
Those who are found to have a fever or other symptoms will be referred for further testing. Meanwhile, all patients suffering from an influenza-like illness and severe acute respiratory infections who visited China within 14 days or have been in close contact with someone who was in China in the same period will be subjected to rapid antigen tests. Genome sequencing will also be conducted for those found positive for COVID-19. Dr. Zaliha added that wastewater aboard planes from China will be sampled for COVID-19 as well.
Meanwhile, the Health Ministry has extended the declaration of infected local areas by another 6 months to June 30 next year. The declaration, which allows for the exercise of the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act 1988, was set to expire on December 31st.
The Gazette for the declaration was published on December 27th. It marks the 5th time it has been extended since 2021 and comes amid global concerns over China's lifting of COVID-19 protocols. Meanwhile, Health Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa said the government will also be stepping up vaccination efforts by offering booster doses. High-risk groups will be able to receive the vaccine on a walk-in basis beginning January 9th next year at government clinics and hospitals.
Malaysia has some 381 housing projects abandoned as of October. According to local government development minister Nga Ko Ming, a special task force will be set up to deal with these sick housing projects in efforts to protect home buyers. A sick housing project is one that has been delayed for over 30% of its scheduled process, or where the sale and purchase agreement has lapsed. Nga said the task force will also work with developers to solve the issue of abandoned projects while ensuring the industry's survival. He added that his ministry is reviewing the national housing policy to promote sustainable and affordable housing. It is targeting to build over 83,000 units with the aim to complete everything by 2025. Nga also said the ministry will hold discussions with housing-related stakeholders next year in light of an economic slowdown, inflation, and possible recession. In other news, Cybersecurity Malaysia and the Personal Data Protection Department are probing an alleged data leak involving 13 million Malaysians. Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fazil deems the leakage a serious issue as it involves a large amount of data. According to a Facebook post, a website allegedly listed information of account holders from the Election Commission EC, Maybank and Astro. The purported leaks include the full name, date of birth, IC number and contact information of those affected. However, based on Astro's investigations to date, none of its customers' information has been compromised. Fahmi also said initial investigations found that the Maybank account numbers involved were fake and did not exist as no transactions could be carried out. The investigations also showed that the alleged data leak was in reference to an incident that took place in 2018. Meanwhile, Fahmi said the MCMC has been instructed to block the website to prevent public access. He added that probes into leaks from the EC database will be handed over to the National Cybersecurity Agency. The Social Welfare Department has been instructed to immediately investigate the death of a 4-year-old boy from suspected abuse in Johor on Monday. Will the Cabinet's recent decision to establish a special children's department to better care for children's welfare address issues like child abuse? We ask activist Dr. James Nayagam.
Over the years, the statistics remain the same. That means nothing. So if you're going to have a department, then the test of the effectiveness of the department will be whether there is a reduction of child abuse cases or reduction of violence against children, exploitation, and so on. Now, that would confirm the effectiveness of such a department. Otherwise, we're just creating a department, and it remains as a department and remains continuing to talk about attempts to reduce child abuse. You see, something of dealing with child abuse, sexual abuse, has to be done intelligently, based on facts, and pilot test, pilot projects. And the only way that child abuse can be combated is if you educate the public and have community projects that protects children, not more laws, not more much more punishment or whatever. It doesn't work. Mainly, it's the parents who abuse their children, and how to get to them, how to protect children, how community can own the ownership and not the authorities. This has got to be passed to the community, and then only we can see results.
While the move to set up a special children's department is lauded, we take a closer look at the existing welfare and protection system for children and how they can be improved with setting up the new department.
In terms of recruitment and existing workforce, what we would like to see is competent people with solid knowledge. Moving on, another thing that I'd like to highlight is that this institution, this department, should not just stand alone. We would like to see an interagency child protection case management and data protection system. We need this to ensure that the national systems and services are accessible to all children, again, regardless of their status, regardless of their documentation. And when we do this, this also includes a child-friendly justice system, again, with competent authorities. Another key area is in terms of law. So while Malaysia has already ratified the UNCRC, there are also several reservations on the convention, right? The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. And because of these reservations, it doesn't actually guarantee that the needs and rights of children are met. So like, for example, there are certain reservations on Article 7 regarding birth registration. And then there's also reservations on Article 28, which is regarding compulsory and free education, primary education for all children. So we hope that all these reservations are lifted and that the implementation of the UNCRC Committee's recommendations is also ensured so that children's rights are safeguarded.
More after the break. Stay tuned.
Abah kamu ada je yang tak kena. Hari tu,
Wish laju. Mari.
Sebab tu, plan dia sekarang ni paling laju. Ada macam-macam. Hebat RM10 pun dapat.
Opah tu, opah ni, awak pun nak juga kan?
Nampak gaya dua-dua ni nak Digi-Fiber. Adik pun berhajat nak talent family kan?
Ceritanya semua orang nak.
ini pelan yang terbaik untuk keluarga.
Welcome back. A Myanmar military court has sentenced Aung San Suu Kyi to a further 7 years in prison, taking her overall jail time to 33 years. The country's former elected leader has been under house arrest since a military coup in February 2021. Since then, she's faced 18 months of trials on 19 charges.
On Friday, she was sentenced on the final 5 charges she faced. A court found her guilty of corruption because she had not followed regulations in renting a helicopter for a government minister. Suu Kyi had already been convicted of 14 different crimes, including breaching COVID public safety rules, importing walkie-talkies and violating the Official Secrets Act. Her trials this year have been set behind closed doors, where the public and media are barred access, and her lawyers were also banned from speaking to journalists. The 77-year-old Nobel laureate has denied all the charges against her.
Brazilian football legend Pelé has passed away at the age of 82 after a lengthy battle with colon cancer. Considered football's greatest ever by many across the world, Pelé was the only player to win the World Cup 3 times. Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has declared 3 days of national mourning. Monuments across Brazil like Christ the Redeemer and the Maracanã Stadium, home of the Brazilian national team, was lit up in honor of Pelé as the country mourned its loss. A 24-hour wake will be held on Monday in the center of the field at the Stadium of Santos, Pelé's hometown club and where he started playing as a teenager. On Tuesday, there will be a parade carrying his coffin through the neighborhood where his 100-year-old mother lives, followed by a private burial. For more than 60 years, the name Pelé has been synonymous with football. He played in 4 World Cups and is the only player in history to win 3, 1958, 1962, and 1970. FIFA named him the greatest of all time in 2012. But his legacy stretched far beyond his trophy haul and remarkable goal, scoring world record of 1,281 goals during his 21-year career. Pelé used his platform after football to support charitable works and try to improve the lives of the poor in Brazil. He himself was raised in a poor family. Pelé had been receiving treatment for cancer in recent years. He entered the hospital several weeks ago for treatment of a variety of health issues before succumbing to multiple organ failure. Tributes to football legend Pelé poured in from all over the world as soon as news of his passing came in. Here's what some of the current and former players said as they took to social media to pay their respects. Brazilian forward Neymar wrote on an Instagram post that before Pelé, football was just a sport until the legend changed it all. Neymar added that the football legend gave a voice to the poor, to the blacks, and especially exposure to Brazilian football. France striker Kylian Mbappe also described Pelé as the king of football, adding that his legacy will never be forgotten. Meanwhile, Portugal's Cristiano Ronaldo said, "A mere goodbye to the eternal King Pelé will never be enough to express the pain enveloping the whole of the football world." He said that his memory will endure forever in everyone who loves football. Others who shared their tributes to Pelé include Lionel Messi, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro, US President Joe Biden, and even 8-time Olympic champion in athletics Usain Bolt, who described Pelé as a sporting legend. Meanwhile, Romanian prosecutors have detained internet personality and former kickboxer Andrew Tate on suspicion of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized crime group. Tate, who was detained alongside his brother Tristan, had his house raided in the capital Bucharest.
The Romanian Anti-Organized Crime Unit said the brothers, who had been under criminal investigation since April, will be detained for 24 hours alongside 2 Romanian suspects. Prosecutors said they appear to have created an organized crime group with the purpose of recruiting and exploiting women by forcing them to create pornographic content. Police had identified 6 women who had been sexually exploited by the suspects. Tate had been banned from many social media platforms for misogynistic comments and hate speech, including saying that women are partially responsible for being raped. The British citizen rose to fame in 2016 when he was removed from TV show Big Brother over a video which appeared to show him attacking a woman. Refugees face various hardships in the country, including lack of access to education, healthcare, and job opportunities. Heidi Kwa from Refugee for the Refugees highlights how Malaysia should approach the refugee community moving forward.
I think the 2 things that we need to look into is how do we integrate refugees into our community without the need to give them citizenships, but also how do we combat fear-mongering by, trying to assimilate them a little bit better and having, just a kinder tone of voice when we talk about refugees and migrants. How do we educate the right more, right, about truly the distinction between refugees and migrants? Because, as Hilda has mentioned, right, when people are educated and people know the distinction between refugees and migrants and illegal immigrants, and when their fears are eased, that's when they can integrate better with the community.
Catch the full episode of It's About Youth tonight on Astro AWANI at 10:30 p.m.
That's all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Soraya Mia, and we'll see you next year.